Alright, and we're back. Finally. With Valhalla. See, that shouldn't exist, blah blah blah. But anyway, this is Valhalla. A bartender action game. Where we serve drinks to the Glitch City's finest citizens. It is also a story game. And I'm very invested. Right. Is it tracking me well? Yeah, it's still tracking me, okay. And right now we're in our room, day 11. The electricity bill will be sent out on the 24th. Please make sure you have the $8,000 needed. Yeah, we bought what Jill wanted. And right now we have 60-60. Who was that, Lilum? A very good friend. Monster girlfriend Chiari. Or Chirari. Monster girlfriend Chirari. Can't stop playing this game. Implying gorgeous graphics, innovative and addictive battle system, implying fun dating minigames, implying cute girls, depth fucking music. Is this the goat? Don't know. Do you like the goat girl? Heh. I'm gonna marry a goat. It's an alright game, 8 out of 10 at most. Shit game. No, it's a shitty game for idiot waifu bots like you. I wish this waifu bad game meme would I wish this waifu equals bad game meme would die. It's a stupid game pandering to idiots. What's there to discuss? Are we being rated by normies? Normies, fuck off. Fun things are fun. You are not allowed to have fun with video games. You know what? Some people are like that. We all know someone who's like that. Quincy studies the possibility of allowing imports. I should probably just a bit more here. Oops. There. Glitch City is one of the few places on Earth that's strictly self-sufficient with an import rate of only 0.8%. However, that might change due to the recent shortages across the city. Prime Minister Quincy revealed this morning that the government plans to have a more relaxed policy for importers. We won't lift the currency control, but we can provide them foreign currency at a low fixed rate. That way we can secure essential items at affordable prices, Quincy told AE. Some experts say that private companies are no longer working at full capacity, which is unsurprising given that the Quincy government has seized most of them, resulting in the shortage crisis in the first place. Oh, what do you know? Is Kira Miki the biggest pop star or pop idol in history? The world at large is still coming to terms with the idea of the Lilum being so quickly integrated into our society. Some say they can't be treated as human as they're immortal and cannot, as such, and as such cannot really understand what it's like to be alive. But most of the Kira Miki fandom would disagree. Anti-Lilin people are insane. To me, Mickey knows more about life than I do, and I'm older than this damn city. Richard Show, 55, told the Augment to die during a fan gathering. I'm with Richard, added Nacho, 6. I may be a dog, but I'm utterly fascinated with the way she writes about things in her blog. She's impressed by everything, and nobody really knows what life's about anyway. Nacho, dog? Don't tell me. Oh, so he decided not to steal all of the city's funds. Good. Spooky. Or a bluff. Lilum receiving mysterious messages. Halloween was back in October, but this terrifying tale didn't become popular until now. Reports say that Lilum across the city have been receiving strange transmissions with messages that are confusing at best and threatening at worst. The contents are not clear as most of the Lilum can't remember exactly what they had heard. But the most mysterious thing of all is perhaps the fact that the Lilum could not record any of these messages while they were broadcasted. It was almost as if something had blocked the Lilum from doing so. While we have nothing but anecdotal proof, even among our own Lilum, the mystery behind these messages is one we should be paying attention to. Uh-oh. The Lilum are gonna riot soon, right? Or no? Alright, we may see a game over screen or something, I don't know. Let's start our shift. Friday, December 23rd. Good evening. Ah, hey. How are you feeling? Lilum are soft and warm. Come again? You heard me. So on a scale from steaming pile of shit to just sad, where are you? A sad pile of shit. Still hate myself. Still sad as hell, but how to put it, the noise stopped. I don't know if I explained myself. Sorta, kinda. So how were things last night? Cozy, I must admit. I can't believe you paid Dorothy for that. Well, if you want to call that payment, I guess. I called Dorothy to tell her what happened to you, and she was really concerned. She stuttered for a second, saying that she had the whole night to go and just couldn't leave for free. I asked her how much, and she said enough to pay for this soda enough to pay for this soda I'm having is fine. How did you get her number? I have contacts. Right. Anyways, Jill, if you need a second break, a drink, or a hug, just let me know, okay? Thanks. I'd make you the same offer, but I'm guessing hugs from me are the last thing you want. If you need a bartender, let me know, though. Nice to know. Anyways, we have work to do. Oops, that's not the one I want. This one. Time to mix drinks and change lives. Heh, it's nice to hear that again. You say something? Did I? Welcome to Valhalla. Oh, it's you guys. Hey, be more respectful. I brought my boss here. Aren't you a part-timer here or something? My other boss. You're talking to the great Nacho Tumbleweed Jr. Boss, I'm taking my break. I know what I said earlier, but you haven't even started yet. Shit. So what brings you here today? I wanted to see the place my best soldier's working at. Soldier? Wait, aren't you the dog I served last Monday? Oh, it's you, Dana. Soldier, why didn't you tell me you were working for Dana? No, that's not Dana, that's just Jay. So I'm guessing you're part of this whole Sierra thing. Part of it? I founded it. Humans have the best intentions, but they just don't get us. So I decided to create a place where dogs can be dogs. Here, we can take in any dog without a place in this world. We created our own heaven on earth. And do you take corgis only? Do I look like one of those Safar bitches? Of course not. I'd include other animals, but sadly I can only take care of those who are the same species as I. Sad thing is I take it more seriously, but it's a talking corgi with an eye patch. And a rather familiar husky sounding voice. Will you get anything? I'm fine. What about you, boss? Manly stuff. You sure? Did I stutter? Alright. A manly drink for the dog. Maybe I should just give him something bitter. That's fucked up. But then again, I think most of the manly drinks are bitter, aren't they? Yeah, the pile driver's bitter. The suplex is bitter. Oh, and that one's sour. You know what? It hasn't failed me yet, so you know what? Let's give him a gut punch. That's 5, 1, and 1. Age mix. Here. Yes, this is just what I wanted. Blech, this tastes worse in my own butt. Hey, you asked for it. It was really a nice place, you know. You picked a good place to work at, soldier. Thanks. Does he really get paid? Your efforts to keep Sierra afloat will not go to waste. We'll make her better and better. I mean, we're pretty much on the verge of closing. Can boss really afford that? We have more urgent matters at hand, though. Like the fact we don't have enough balls for everyone. Can't they just share the ones we have? You fool, every dog has a right to his own ball. If we can't provide even that, what's the point of even trying? Wait, don't tell me she just doesn't give a fuck and is spending all of her money like water. I mean, what with the bar closing and all that. But many have enjoyed the boxes more than they do the balls. That's a good point. What do you think is cheaper? A box of balls or a box of boxes? Are there box of boxes? Are there boxes of boxes? Of course there are. How do you think they ship boxes? Tied together? Tied together. Don't be silly. Unless she's paying him straight from her pocket. Boss is that kind of woman. This world is filled with all sorts of recursive madness, you know. Doctors consult doctors, boxes come in boxes, bottles come in bottles. Maybe not. But I will let him continue. Oh, as expected from you, boss. Wait. That theory only works assuming she's actually paying him with money. For all I know, she might be paying him with steaks. So tomorrow you're gonna check for people selling boxes, you hear? Sir, yes, sir. Except that to boss, a good steak is more valuable than money. Wait, what did they come with foil? Russ and Struss had to be taken to the vet because he ate the foil a piece of cheese came in. Curses, you're right. We need a contingency plan. Besides, boss is not one to scam people, let alone a dog. I wonder if we can strike a deal with the vet those safe bar bastards have. She's always so nice with us. I know. Her smile is so cute too. So it's better that we vet for a vet. Yes, put that on the list. Ah, Nacho. Oh yeah, I forgot she knew the dog. Are you staying for a while? I was just passing by. I've got some errands to run. Great, Gil can go with you. Again? You will. I'll still get paid for today, right? That depends on Nacho's evaluation. Alright, Greenhorn, let's get going. Oh, I'm paying them anyways, by the way. Just wanted to mess around with them. No, that's not the problem here. Why make him do that? You look like you needed to take a good break, and he's the kind to just not accept such a thing. But with Nacho, you'd have something to do. And he'd be away from the bar for a bit. When you put it that way. Anyway, I'm going back to my office. Your boss sure is nice. Glad I'm working with her too. Yeah. So you having anything? Actually, I'm just gonna go sit over there and be on standby, await orders. Okay. Shit, I missed the chance to ask Hal or if he even gets paid with money. Who was Betty again? Yeah, they sure need to get wasted. Oh, it's them two. I fail to see how getting wasted will make you feel Shiba! For fuck's sake, you piece of scrap. We just got out of a building full of dogs. But this one has a Hawaiian shirt and sunglasses. Hey there, Robot. And he talks! Welcome to Valhalla. Hey Joe, get me a beer, will you? Gotcha. Does Deal want anything? Okay, roll. Sir, yes sir. So cute. He's fine. Just a beer then. Friday after work isn't just a beer though, it's the beer. Can't argue with that. Beer for Betty. I could make it big for the heck of it. Fuck it, why not? It's a Friday in this game. She just got off work, and she has to deal with Deal. fucking around with a dog again. Or, well, not again, but right now. So, really quickly, 2, 4, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here, let's make it special. Yeah! Cheers! Hey Jill, do you like beer? The amount of beer cans in my apartment is becoming a problem, actually. I had this friend back in high school who made some pretty nice crafts with them. I'm still in contact with them if you're interested. No thanks, the last thing I need right now is more crap taking space. So how are things up at Dogtown? Well, that little girl is stirring things up, for better or worse. Or worse. She's, like a rabbit. An overtly politically correct rabbit. Rabbit? Never had a pet rabbit. They're a nervous mess that gets startled over the littlest of things. Oh. And this girl is on the constant lookout, scared of saying something that might irk someone. It doesn't have to be that... Excuse me. It doesn't have to be the person she's speaking with, even. It's no problem in the company, but the other day we went out and holy shit! Poor girl can't speak properly. She pauses every sentence to make sure she doesn't say something offensive. She's a nice girl, and it's sweet that she tries so hard not to offend anyone. But seriously, she tries too hard. You don't help either. Hmm? You randomly yell, "What did you say?" whenever she's within earshot distance. Yeah, well... It's just that she looks so cute when she's startled. Like a rabbit. It raises up the question of whether she's really like that. Or if you're the one making her aware of anything she says. Well, why don't we test that? How? You go out with her. Why? Just if it's really me who makes her like that. It's not like you can say no, you know. I mean, it's my honor that's on the line here. I want to prove you're only talking shit about me. Even if you were right, you have quite the fixation on that girl. She's fun. Fun how? She actually reacts when I tease her. You take it in stride, but she actually gets startled, squirms, and then gets uncomfortable. How is that any good? She's cute and her reactions are cute. But if you keep it up, she'll either leave or get used to you. You know, like me. Shit, you're right. I must see my teasing for when the moment is just right then. Yeah, tasing! Oh god! No, that's not the problem. It is for me. What are you doing here? What about the dog? He said he had to go out. By the way, he said his name was... Hey, this Laura girl. Do you guys get along? I wouldn't know. We get along as co-workers at the very least. What kind of girl is she? What kind of girl is she? Aside from the whole politically correct rabbit thing. Slow. She's the kind that does things so carefully that she does them really, really slowly. Really slowly. I can't deny that when she actually does finish stuff, she does a great job, but it's unnerving. She doesn't actually have to be with us in the building, though. She's more like a freelancer. Why is she there, then? Because she likes dogs. And that's why I insist that you two would make a fine couple. That's really a superficial statement. I feel like you'd be fine with someone because you're both women. Okay, bad example. May I say something? By all means. If that Laura girl really is really as bland as you claim her to be, wouldn't she be better off with a more assertive person? A little, A more assertive partner? Yo, piece of scrap, she's totally calling you a pussy. She's right, though. Sharing interests and being compatible are totally different things. But then, you'd be underestimating the power of love. Whether you want to admit it or not, love changes people for better or for worse. Who knows? Maybe you'll become more assertive after spending time with her. Or she'll drive me nuts. I guess that's a possibility too. Still, why are you so insistent on me and her getting together? Because she's like a cute rabbit, so someone might try to eat her out there. It'd be a lot easier to keep her in my sight. So, in short, your motherly instincts arose because of Laura. Why not see if she likes you? And you already tried to hit on it, didn't you? You make me sound like some skirt chaser. She's not into girls. How did you find out? I asked her directly. Of course you did. She seemed, giddy afterwards, though. I heard her muttering something about meeting her first lesbian. It was weird. Okay, enough Laura for a night. Refrain from using any "that's what you said last night" jokes, or variations thereof, please. Party pooper. Let's get a drink then. Sounds good. I'll have a bloom light, please. Get me a fringe weaver. Bloom light is 4 red, 1 blue, 2 green, 3 light blue. 4, 1, 2, 3. Add some ice. Damn. Is that not it? 4, 1, 2, and 3. Oh, aged and... Okay, my bad. I fucked up. Oh, okay, there we go. And 9. Jesus, that is a lot of alcohol. Howdy, Moisture. How you doing? Here you go. I wonder why it's called a bloom light. Seems it was first developed at some video game event. The creators said something about making the attendees feel like their customers do. Said attendees were, of course, part of some big games company. Seems that company always used too much bloom lighting, so the bartender there literally made them all drink the bloom. Made them drink all the bloom. So it's not called that because it glows in the dark. Not this one, no. Come to think of it, did you ever change because of a relationship, Jill? In more ways than one, I guess. Would you say for better or for worse? I guess for the better. I'm too thick-headed to develop any new bad habits. Although, thanks to my first boyfriend, I did pick up a very annoying habit of correcting people's names, correcting people's grammar on the fly. Pretty annoying when I think back to it. So you are one of those kind of people. As for me, sometimes I think I become more... what's the word? Cynical, jaded, bitter, tired of the crap this world and everyone in it throws on a daily basis. Hey, I'm just quoting you. But Yeah, I think it became all that because of this one girlfriend I had in college. She got me into the whole activism thing in the first place. How was that bad? We'd all go and protest. We'd start all kinds of movements and to see things change. I really got into the whole thing. But whenever I wanted to get more serious, I found myself coming up against a wall. That wall is an analogy for the fact that not everyone was willing to go that far. I found out pretty fast that most of them were in the whole thing because of some shitty fad, and not because they actually believed in whatever movement they were championing. So I moved from group to group only to find people who were in it because of a fad. And when they were not in it because of a passing fad, they were dangerous. They were the dangerous extremist kind. My tolerance for people's shit was greatly diminished after all that. So it wasn't much of the person you had a relationship with, but rather other people. Um, you seriously never thought about it that way. Uh, you need to stop putting the blame for what you do on past relationships. Whatever. Where's the other guy, by the way? He had to escort one of the dogs outside. Figures. Oh yeah, the one that was here. The one that was here as if you were the nice vet lady that works at the Safer Toy Company. I suppose he's interested in talking to you or something. Why didn't he do it then? I don't know. You've been doing a few jobs on the side, haven't you? The pay from the dogs isn't quite enough to keep up with the mounting debts. I don't know how you do it. It's hard to believe dogs pay you at all. But this is coming from someone working at a place that pays a dog for doing fuck all. Or at least I think we're paying him. I'm not completely certain we do. Will you get anything else? Well, we'll find. But we have to get up early tomorrow, and by we, I really mean her. She got invited to a picnic, and I won't stand to hear another had to go to a picnic with a hangover story. Fine. Let's go then. See ya, Jill. Bye. Please come again. Man, you're such a party pooper. You'll be the party pooper tomorrow if you keep drinking. Boss, I'm taking my break. Call me if someone comes. Alright. Very good. Have a good Christmas. I had a decent Christmas. I mostly just chilled and hung out here. So kind of slept through most of it. Oh, excuse me. Alright, we'll save right here on our break. Okay, so I'm sure this is us, Jill. This should be Dana. I believe this is Stella, and then this would be Say, I think. How was your Christmas, Moister? Alright, so that other dog was what? I guess a reference to Big Boss? Not Nacho the dog? And then Red Shiba is is Miller, considering the sunglasses, which I think is neat. So it's kind of funny now that I see, now that I've seen the two of them at this like side by side. Although I think the eye patch is on the wrong eye, for the dog. I'm pretty sure the eye patch is on the wrong eye. It was good. I'm just installing this screen my girlfriend brought me for my Game Boy, so I can actually start seeing in the dark. My childhood Game Boy, first console I ever had. Oh, good shit. So a backlit like screen mod, right? Hell yeah. Let's go. Uh Original 89 Game Boy or a Game Boy Color? I already slotted in a battery mod so I can charge it. Game Boy Color. Oh, good shit. Okay. Is it gonna be USB-C if it's chargeable? Oh shit! Now that I think about it, would anybody be able to do like a wireless charging mod? So like if you have one of those wireless chargers, you can actually charge the Game Boy if you need to. Ah, okay, the original charger. That's fair. Well, not the original charger, but the original jack that's in it. All right, it's now safe to keep playing. No dogs in sight. I think I'll keep the music the same. Okay, then back to work. Welcome to Valhalla. Oh, hey there, Alma. Um, she seems down. Maybe there's something I can give her to cheer her up. Let's try to cheer Alma up. She might like classy drinks, but she really likes bubbly. Yeah, this one. Sweet, classy, happy. But just to be sure, we need something that would... What would cheer somebody up? Of course, that one. Moonblast. Okay, not that one. 6, 3, and 1. Mix. A. And this? It's on me. Drink, so at least you change your expression. Why not just say you're worried about me? You got the message anyway, didn't you? Eh. So, how is it? A Brantini, so you do pay attention for what I ask for. You have quite the fixation with Brantinis. To be quite honest, they suit you. Hey, wanna hear a silly story? Always. When I turned 21, my dad and I went to a bar to celebrate. Just him and I. He told me to dress well enough that he looked like my sugar daddy. It was a fun night. We pretended at times we were dating. I managed to blow off some steam about my mom. But the highlight was him ordering a Brantini for me. I've had plenty of drinks and gotten wasted many times since I was 15, but that drink was different. It wasn't about getting drunk. The drink itself was the pleasure. He too said they suited me somehow. Oh. Ever since that day, he's called me Brantini Girl from time to time. Your dad sounds like a cool guy. You should meet him sometime. So, why are you deflating? Deflating? When I got sad and started sighing repeatedly, my grandpa would warn me that I'd start deflating like an old tire if I kept it up. So, what is it? Was it the news about people dressing in bunny suits after the whole Alice Rabbit boom? Nah, that's old news. I mean, it is a problem, but such a thing would only annoy me. Say, Jill, how's your mood right now? I want to ruin it by blowing off all my stored steam. Silly Alma. I've been feeling like utter shit the last couple days. You can't make me feel worse. So go ahead. Unwind all your worries on me. Don't say I didn't warn you. So, remember my sister Diana? The one that separated from her husband and forgot her kids while fucking her way around or something. Perfect summary. I'll use it next time. I need to tell you the whole story then. More specifically, that she threw her husband out after months of abuse. Oh. However, that woman is incapable of getting a job and maintaining herself. And I mean that. She never even thinks about selling some stuff or trying to earn her bread. She just expects a guy to do all that for her. I have no idea why she turned out like that. Both my mom and dad were hard workers. I even started a small shop to have something to do after retirement. Huh. So, what does this fully capable woman of a couple of weeks later do? Why, bring her abusive husband back, of course. What? Yeah, and the guy spent a couple of days with her before leaving her again. Got a nice couple of hot steamy nights and then left. Well... Oh, you reacted like my little brother and sister after hearing that. The story doesn't end there, oh no. She's broke and can't even get enough for a bus. Even though she'd probably be glad to sell her ass just to get some money. And it was up to me to pick her up. For the last couple of days she left her kids with my parents. And being such sweet angels, they've made a mess out of the whole place. Bernarda and Ava are actually staying with me for a couple of days to give them some peace. It doesn't help that I never got along with Diana. So, we're in the car and she asks how her kids are. And of course, after all the built-up tension, I just exploded. At first I started ranting about how her kids are growing up seeing some messed up stuff. I started scolding her about not taking responsibility and about not taking proper care of her children. I tell her that she's in no place to have all those escapades. And after all that, she just says, "What the hell do you know? You don't have any kids." Yeah, you slutty skank, I don't have kids, but I'm not broke just because I refuse to take a job. I don't have kids, but I'm not leaving them in the first barely familiar house I find. I don't have kids, but I'm not letting the guy that hit me on a regular basis back in my bed. I don't have kids, but I pretty much realized Ava and Bernarda raised Ava and Bernarda, and they turned out pretty damn well. I don't have any kids, but I'm not a cheap whore. Wow. Yeah, she is mad. Damn. I don't know what to say. There's nothing to say. I love my family and I put them above all else, but Diana is seriously pushing the boundaries of what I can allow. Any way I could help. You just did. I know what I'm dealing with. I'm not one to let stuff like that get to me. I'm still angry as hell, and I couldn't just discuss this with any of my family members. I can't tell my mom, your daughter is a slut. And I just need to get all of this off my chest, you know? Well, from what I see, there's still a lot more to get off your chest. It's swollen as fuck. Nah, all you see here is filled with love and dreams. Is everyone in your family as busty as you? The worst offender is my dad, actually. Kidding. I guess the only one that didn't get the big boobs gene was Eva. She insists on getting surgery or genetic treatment, but I tell her that she's fine the way she is. These can actually be more of a hassle than a blessing, though. And poor Bernardo. His breast started actually growing when he was 8. I just hope I don't take too much from my mother's side of the family. My father's sister still looked quite young, but when menopause hit, my mom lost her looks rather quickly. Any good genes you got from your family, Jill? Good enough skin and hair, I guess. There's a thing about a shrimp allergy, but I haven't had any problems with that. Oh, I see. Hey, you know what worries me the most about the whole Diana situation? How your nephews are turning out? If she leaves them with my mom, they'll turn out better than her. Somehow. Actually, what worries me is, what if I end up like that too? How so? If I find a good man and settle down, what if he turns out shitty? What if I have a sudden burst where I want to live my life and end up like that? What if I have kids and I end up neglecting them because of all that? If you ask me, the fact that you're even worried about it is indication enough that you'll be fine. You think? I'm pretty sure. You said before that she pretty much married the guy after a couple months, right? Yeah. No offense, but those are the kind of people who wouldn't even think about all that. Besides, if any guy ends up marrying you, it's because he passed your irrational standards. Hey! Am I lying? No, but there are things best kept as unspoken truths. I wonder if I'll ever find a good guy. You will. You'll know when the time comes. I sure hope so. For now, the time has come to get another drink. What can I get you? Give me something with ice, but alcoholic, please. Alright. Cold and alcoholic. You know what? A Moonblast should be fine. No, why not? A Moonblast. Fuck it. I haven't made a single mistake yet. 6, 1, 1, 2, and blend. Blend. Here you go. Thanks. I need to cool down a bit. That's why I'm here. So you said you felt shitty the last couple days. Why? Don't think about it too much. Oh, come on, you heard my problems. I want to help you too. Don't worry too much. Right, I almost forgot to tell you something. What is it? My boss is throwing a mega Christmas party this Sunday. Wanna come? Sure. Something tells me this mega Christmas is gonna be a mess at my parents' home, so I'd rather avoid it. Are you guys getting chicken? I can get one. To be honest, I wouldn't know. You can bring it if you want. It won't go to waste. Gotcha. Hey, Jill, what's your favorite part of the chicken? Favorite part? I guess I like legs the most. Really? I like breast better. Breast is a bit too simple, don't you think? Legs have better texture. Maybe, but simple is usually better. Breast is easier to enjoy than legs. And a lot less messy. You silly pearls. Boss? You're there talking about breasts and legs when everyone knows the best parts are the wings. Boss, what's that? Spicy chicken wings. Where did you get spicy chicken wings? From a spicy chicken. If I worked here, I would not be able to fucking stay sane. I would be the giggling bartender every single fucking day. Oh. You know, spicy chicken, the shop 2 blocks from here. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Why are you carrying a bucket of spicy chicken wings? Why aren't you carrying a bucket of spicy chicken wings? Well, because... thought as much. Yo, Armitage. Alma. I know what I said. Will the chicken you're talking about be cooked already? You might need to heat it up. But it'd be cooked otherwise. Great. I expect you here Sunday at 8 p.m. Thanks. Anyway, I'll be back to my office. She left the bucket. Want some? Don't mind if I do. Oh, mild spice. Nice. Weird. Maybe she got a mixed up order, maybe that's why she left them there. She usually orders stronger stuff? I found buckets that make my throat itch after just being near them. Oh. Say, Jill, what kind of guys do you like? That's a sudden question. I'm not too picky with guys, to be honest. I want them to be decent enough. Not jealous, not aggressive, responsible enough to keep a job. That's no good. Do you like them buff? What about tall? No tattoos or piercings, I guess. Never liked either. What about you? I like them well dressed. If they go out in iron shirts and well coordinated clothes, they're sure to catch my eye. Some muscles always fine too, but sharply dressed males catch my attention faster. And yet you're still single. That's how I like my men. My potential husband, on the other hand, is another matter completely. I see. So, can you get me a drink here? The spicy wings turned out to be spicy. What do I get you? Anything, as long as it helps me with the spiciness in my mouth. Okay. Let's give her something to get her, to help her get over the spiciness of the wings. Yeah, a sweet drink would work, right? You know what? Why not? Why not a piano and see what she does? Five, 2, 3, and 3. Yeah, 5, 5, 2, 3, and 3. Age mix. Here. Here. Sorry. Phew, it helped. Thanks. Alright then, so next question. What kind of girl do you like? Mm-hmm. You first. Sorry, I don't swing that way. Sure, I have no qualms about saying a girl is cute or cool, but nope, I prefer men in my bed. Now you. Shit. Just calm down. I guess I like girls with light-colored hair. Light-colored hair? You know, like redheads and such. What about white? Like your boss? You were just setting me up for that comment, weren't you? Sorry, but it's just that when she got here with the bucket of wings, your eyes pretty much started sparkling. Find somebody that looks at you the way Jill looks at Dana with a bucket of chicken wings. She likes her girls with wings. Hey man, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. Jill has great taste. Like, yeah, Dana just walks in with a thing of with like a bucket of wings, and immediately Jill is like leaning over the counter. Wood. I'm sorry, like, I'm just trying to keep it together, but I keep seeing that right on my fucking screen. Sorry, it's just that when she got here with a bucket of wings, your eyes started pretty much sparkling. Cause like, the fact that it's all like PNGs, right? And they don't really like have too many different expressions. Like they could have shown Dana with like a fuck ton of sauce, just all smeared across her chin or whatever. There's a bone in her hair. I don't know. Yeah, make her a little more chaotic. A nugget up the nostril. No, maybe not that far. Not that far. It's a thing of wings. So, or like, I don't know, maybe she's still chewing on one of the little bones. Doesn't realize she has it. Yeah, she has it hanging from her lip like a toothpick. Just greasy fingers. And like just a weird and like a weird hand shaped stain from wiping her hand on herself. Like, huh? And Jill's just like, whoa, boss. That would be a good picture. Her smiling in the dialogue and just be chicken skin. Your whole behavior transformed. You became giddy and cheerful all of a sudden. Hey, I can't blame you. She is pretty nice. I just felt like teasing you. So, like colored hair? What about blondes? Do you like me? Yeah, I guess. Let's say I'm into girls too and I start hitting on you. Would you go along with it? Nice body, pretty face, and a good apartment. I would never let you go. Okay then, enough tangents. Why don't you tell me why you were feeling shitty these last few days? What? Oh, that. I told you not to think too much about it. And I told you I want to know. Come on, Jill, you've heard my problems so many times, now I want to help you. Come on, come here. Huh? I told you to sit here, come on. What? What are you? Oh! Look! It's us! Aww. Alma's a great friend. Alright then, now I'm the bartender and you're the client. Hardly. The bartending station only works with me. I see. Okay then, I move this here, click. Oh Jesus. Ow. Okay, that kind of hurt. Whoa. Now it works for you, for me, and that dog in a Hawaiian shirt. Oh yeah, that's right. She hacks the she just hacks the shit. So with that, does that mean we learn that she's Alice Bunny? I'm gonna take a wild gamble. I'm gonna make a wild gamble and say that she's Alice Bunny this entire time. Rabbit, Alice Rabbit, whatever. And no, I'm not eating chicken, I am eating snacks. Why with him too? He's a dog in a fucking Hawaiian shirt. Right. And how did you even manage to... Oh, yeah, hacker. Right. Yeah, just like how I forgot. Now we've changed roles. You've been feeling shitty. Mind telling me why? It's just a long story. I don't even know where to start. I kind of don't want to change her voice, but I feel like this doesn't... I feel like Maya, Maya doesn't mix here. No, not Maya, Mia. Yeah, whatever. They kind of have the same disposition, sort of. Start from the beginning. Okay then. It's something that goes back to my college years. Wow, that's taking it way back. Back in compulsory education, I never made too much of an effort, but I managed to get high grades. Even in PE, I managed to do well enough to always get perfect grades. And then, of course, when I got to college, shit started getting hard. I had this perfectionist streak that wouldn't let me fail anything. Burning my eyelashes studying, I eventually managed to keep up good grades. After about half of the career, I met a student teacher. Her name was Lenore. She helped me a lot with my studies. She even got me into stuff that gave me more credits. I really liked her. And after some time, I found out she liked me too. Oh. We started going out. I met all of her family even, and... You want a drink? What? A drink. Around this time, there's usually a pause that makes you offer a drink to the client. There was no such pause. Please, I want this whole bartending interface. A sugar rush then, you can't mess that up. Right. You'll ask for a sugar rush. Now, how does this thing work again? Optional, because we need to take the edge off. Here. Thanks. How is it? Like I said, you can't mess up a sugar rush. I have this good feeling that with your body you'd make a better bartender than me. You're selling yourself too short. You're cute, you know. People don't go to bars for cuteness, though. You've obviously never been to a cat bar, then. Besides, my boobs can be a hassle when trying to move around this kind of stuff. So, keep telling the story. Well, as the career went on, it got harder and harder. The last year and a half of it became nothing but study session after study session, investigations, my thesis. When the graduation ceremony came, I had to make a speech, and suddenly, while reading said speech, I almost had a panic attack. Fear of public speaking? I realized I lost about 1.5 years of my life. I tried to remember if I did anything fun at all, but all I could remember was studying and investigating new topics. I didn't even enjoy doing all that, so I was just standing there with the satisfaction of, I was just standing there, and the satisfaction of graduating was minimal. I realized I had only gone through the motions day after day, from high school to graduating. I felt like whole years of my life had slipped through my fingers. I never stopped to think if I enjoyed what I was doing. In fact, I never stopped. But at that point I stopped and realized I needed a breather or something. Did I even like that career? It was all terrifying as hell. I needed all my strength to not start running like a panicked mess. So a couple of months later, I get an offer to start working at this big research facility. Lenore was ecstatic. So she was so proud of me back then. But I was just scared. That would be my job. I would spend my life expanding on what I did during that 1.5 years. What if I had a sudden realization like the one I had at graduation, but when I turned 40? I didn't know what to do, but I sure as hell wasn't taking that offer. I told Lenore and she freaked out. She confessed that she was jealous because she never got such a chance. Things devolved pretty quickly. She said one too many things, I said one too many things. In the end, I just stormed out of her house, and I broke a vase in the process. After that, I never spoke to her again. Damn. I'm sorry, I suddenly feel bad for pushing you to tell me all that. Why are you feeling shitty about that after all this time, though? Unless you've been feeling shitty for years. I have. But it's not just because of that. The other day, Lenore's sister Gabrielle came to this bar. Gabrielle. Apparently, Lenore died last week. Localized nanomachine rejection. A heart attack. Apparently she had it for a long time but never told anyone. And coincidentally it got worse after I left. And I just can't stop thinking about it. Wondering if me being there would have made a difference. And if it's true she had that for a long time, why didn't she tell me she was sick when we were together? I don't know. I just feel like all kinds of failure. Jill. And to make it worse, I also lashed out at Gabby. Yes, she was blaming me for her sister's death and all, but she's just a kid, for fuck's sake. She lost a sister who pretty much raised her on her own. And to top it all off, I suddenly can't remember what stopped me from apologizing. Pride, fear, a stupid effort to leave the most awesome person I loved as a thing of the past. Who cares? I lost my chance to apologize to her forever. Truly forever. I'm such a piece of shit. A selfish piece of shit. I honestly don't know what to say. I didn't expect the story to be this. Yo, boob tender. Can you get me a big beer here? Coming right up. Big beer, big beer. What makes a big beer in this thing? Let's go. Big beer for Jill. Thanks. I need to remember to take care of the cans in my apartment. Do you drink lots of beer? One of the perks of the BTC issued liver implant is I can drink lots of beer without getting too wasted. Oh, we have a liver implant? Cool. Hey Jill, what kind of girl was Lenore? Well, she was calm and smart. Back in college I was too thick-headed and got riled up easily. Stressed was my default state. Oh, just like you're behaving right now. Shut up. I was worse. Can't picture that. Don't. It's embarrassing. Anyway, she was always there, finding a way to cool me down. She was also able to hold conversations about pretty much any topic. One time I saw her go from talking about video games to talking about sports. All of that variety while still being a hardcore scientist. She would always push me into social interactions. If she saw me by myself, she would drag me with her. Watching people is fine, but talking to them is better, she would say. Lenore would always present me to her many acquaintances as the girl I don't mind cuddling with for hours. Oh man, I'm gonna miss her. After a point, I didn't even think about getting back into a relationship with her, but she was such an awesome person, I just wanted to apologize. And now... You know, in a cruel twist of irony, she's the one that made me pick up bartending. Oh? Back when I was thinking what the hell to do with my life, I remember the night we spent in a club. She started talking about how the drinks were synthesized, chemistry involved, the reactions and all that. Everything sounded so fascinating. I remember her saying that her talk made me want to start mixing drinks. She said, if everything else fails, why not take up bartending? Huh. Interesting. Are you okay? For some value of okay, yeah. It's just... I wanted to thank you, Alma. Thank me? I guess I just needed someone to tell all of this to. And you were the one. You volunteered yourself. You insisted on listening to me. You stood there listening to the whole thing from beginning to end. I know I might not be the most expressive person, but I'm not one to spout love and fluffiness, but I really like you. Maybe I'm just a bartender and you're just a client, but I really appreciate your friendship, or at the very least your patronage. I really enjoy working for you. Jill, are you dying? Shut up, I'm trying to have a heart-to-heart here. Sorry, it's weird for you to get so... sappy. Well, I just realized that the saddest thing is how I'll never be able to make amends. And it hurts like fucking hell, you know. I never, and I mean never, want to feel this way again. That way ever again. I don't want someone to suddenly exit my life and have my last memory of them involve something nasty. I don't want the lingering grief of having burned a bridge on a whim. I want to avoid that at any cost. Even if it means breaking character every once in a while, so be it. I'll let everyone know how I really feel about them. And if I ever fight with them, I'll swallow my pride, muster all the courage I can and be the one to apologize. I hate feeling like this. Hate it. That's a nice resolution. Maybe I'll be a copycat and do the same. Alright, enough sappiness. Get back here. I'm on duty, you know. Fine. It's almost closing time anyways. It was fun while it lasted though. Hey. Yeah? I mean it, you know. Thanks for everything today. Silly Jill, you listen to my problems and I listen to yours. That's what friends are for, right? Right. I'll be leaving now. Oh, before I forget. Did you ever talk about all this with your parents? They know the basics, but I haven't told them about Lenore's death yet. Why don't you do that sometime? I don't know. I don't want to bother them with my problems. Don't be silly, they're your parents. They live to share your problems. You should try having a talk like this with them sometime. They'll appreciate it. Anyway, I'm out. See you on Sunday. Take care. That Alma girl sure is nice. Boss, did you hear all that? Not all of it, but a good chunk at the very least. Your expression changed a lot already. It did. You look happier. That's always good. Anyway, let's call it a day. I expect an even brighter chill tomorrow. Right. Oh yeah, boss, about those chicken wings. Fucking idiots at the spicy chicken. Sorry, all I pictured now is just Maya just getting pissed off about chicken now. Fucking idiot. Fucking idiots at the spicy chicken. Sorry, Dana, we don't have enough spices for your order until tomorrow, they said. Is that how they treat their regulars? Call the manager. Blah, blah. Boss? Aw, man. I am short by $400. That sucks. Total earnings, whatever. Drinks total $11.90. Mistakes 0. Commission 30%. Foreign tips. Cherish Titty Hacker. She's a good friend. Fuck. Your account lacks sufficient funds to pay your electricity bill. Reconnection endeavors will start on January 15th. Jill's power got cut. This will surely distract her at work. Just pay the bill later. Even if I did, those fuckers are on vacation anyway. Okay, so buying the Mulan tea probably is what fucked me. So I have to spend... Christmas in the dark. I'm trying to think of like all the other drinks, how much they cost. Because I think I might have done like the cheapest drinks possible. Oh no, never mind. Yeah, no. Because I just realized where we stopped in our break. No, it'll be fine. I don't think the game goes that it goes that far anyway. And if it does, hilarious. Ooh, Grand Slam fighters. Amazing how I know all the words and yet I understand nothing. Grand Slam fighters. Is anyone into wrestling here? I became a huge fan of GSF recently. It's a very solid product in my opinion, much better than the E. I like the match quality, but I wish they gave importance to the mid-card. Are they still forcing 66 American Kid into the main event? Yep, and he's going to face Yusuke at the Dome show. Why don't they push the Great DK instead? He's much more talented than 66. Because American Kid actually moves merch, unlike your indie darling. I want to marry Yusuke! Who's hyped for the Women's Championship? That one should be the main event, not the turd we're getting instead. 66 is pretty good. Just watch some of his work in Japan. Everyone tells me 66 was better in Japan, but all I see is locks and arm bars, nothing that impressive. Wrestling's fake! Remember, if anyone comes up to you and says that wrestling is fake, you pop him in the mouth and ask him if that was fake. You slap the shit out of somebody so fucking hard, you give him a concussion and ask him if it's fake. Permanently alter the hearing of one John Stossel and ask him if it's fake. Model Warrior Julianne returns. Model Warrior Julianne returns this Friday. Is that a tear in your eye? No. The classic magical girl show Model Warrior Julianne is coming back to public television this February after almost 2 decades of absence. Even though the show has been on every on-demand service for a while now, most of Glitch City citizens need to think twice before subscribing to any non-essential service, especially the lower classes who have a limited number of internet purchases per year. I'm sorry, what? I'm limited to a number of internet purchases a year? Man, this place sucks. The show's return is certainly welcome. Today's parents will finally be able to share a piece of their childhood with the kids without risking dinner or breakfast. Nanomachine rejection has taken 80 lives this year. I wonder if she's among those 80. The Health Observatory just released their annual report on nanomachine rejection cases. The total number of reported cases has risen to 80, an increase from 65 cases reported last year. Nanomachine pollution was particularly strong this year due to the recent protests, wrote the observatory. Protests caused the police force to release new varieties of nanomachines. Their function is still unclear, but according to our sources, they're intended for crowd control purposes. It's unlikely that we'll find a cure in the near future, and we can only hope cases like these will become rare in the following years. So they released it without a cure. Okay. Lillian receiving mysterious messages update. It looks like we were able to record and transcribe one of the messages sent from one of the compromised signals. Joe Wren, the anchor from our popular TV newscast, served as our very own test subject for the investigation. White noise. Who are you? Are you really alive? Laugh. You're special to me. You're everything to me. It's time to become one. White noise intensifies and a transmission. Developing. Alright, well, considering that my power is cut, I could tear one off any wall in the vicinity, but hell knows what germs they have. It's dark, but I can barely see the Kid and Mickey poster. Just so that it doesn't look like a horror picture show. Alright, next shift. Hang on. Before we actually... Alright, and we're back. Thank you, Moister. Alright, we went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Went through like 6 songs. That's not bad. We're right up on everything anyway. So let's let this song finish out, and then we'll go to work. Alright, in another shift, we go. Saturday, December 24th. We're gonna be distracted. Good evening. Oh, hey Jill. How are you feeling? I won't say good, but not that bad, I guess. That's nice to hear. Where's Gil? Did he run away again? No, I have him on errand duty, buying the drinks for tomorrow. That sounds weird coming from the owner of a bar. Every drink from here would come out of our own funds. So if we're gonna spend money, we might as well get more variety. Besides, those kinds of works are always good for Gil. You're the boss. Who's coming in? Who's coming so far? Well, there's the three of us, the dogs. You invited Titty Hacker. Gil invited Jamie. Oh yeah, I also invited Dorothy when I called her to spend the night with you. Sounds good so far. Invite anyone else you feel like inviting. The more the merrier. I could, but I bet everyone's made plans by this point. That's true. I'll be in my office. Call me should anything arise. Alright. Okay, not troubling news. And I'll take off Metropolis. Summer Train Dream, Dusk, Underground Club, Alternate Reality, and give me... Where is it? The fuck is it? I thought I saw it right now. Well, remake Space of the Titans. Showtime. And assignment. Oh, here's Base of the Titans. I'll change that out for... Drive Me Wild. Or swap two songs by clicking on both. Oh, like that. Okay. Oops. I believe it was Nighttime Maneuvers. Shit. Yeah, those will be fine. Whatever. Time to mix drinks and change lives. Wait here, I'll check inside. Welcome to Valhalla. Oh. They're new. Hmm. Excuse me, do you know where the Athena Convention Center is? Why does that place make people get lost so easily? They should have called it the Minotaur Center. Hold on, let me scribble the directions on paper. Thanks. Go to the right when you see a building filled with hobos. This should be it. Thanks a lot. Anything else I can help you with? Yeah, what the hell, I'll have a drink. What about you? A Brentini, please. Right. No power means no heat. Not that the heat did much anyways. Oh, okay. This is what the game means. So 6, 3, 1. Okay, that's kind of fair. You know what? Eventually, I think the game would have put me in an instance where I wasn't going to be able to rely on this bottom portion. I should have thought about that. Oh well. Alright, so 6, again, 6, 3, and 1, aged, next. Here you are. Thanks. That's an interesting outfit in this cold season, miss. Well, I'm actually cosplaying, so call me Bella for the time being. And your little friend is... Essentia. I get it, you're cosplaying too? Sure, let's go with that. Have you ever heard of a game called Yeek Bartender? That cold classic game that has seen like three remastered versions made by 6 different companies this year. That is a wild deep cut. That is so fucked up. Alright. Somebody had a rather not plain, a rather visible distaste for a certain remastered game. That one. We're in a cosplay group dedicated to him. We got lost in the way. I heard you talking to someone outside. Oh yeah, a friend is cosplaying as Alex. I told him to wait outside. Shouldn't he enter? He'll be fine. Something amiss? There's a girl behind you. Short hair, black sailor uniform, missing an arm. Wearing jeans under a skirt. Now, don't spook the bartender. Spook? Anything else? I'll get a fluffy dream and be on my way. And you? I'm fine. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'll give her one for the road. If I charge my tablet and stop playing Monster Girl puzzles so much, maybe the battery won't die on me so often. Wow, okay. Yeah, she gets heavily distracted at work. That's so fucked up. But thankfully us as the player don't. That we're blessed with the power of replay, so I can actually just go back to the VOD and be like, Alright, so Fluffy Dream. 3 red, 3 blue, optional light blue. Yes, aged, mix. Here. Yep, this is the thing. Seriously though, should you leave your friend outside like that? He'll be fine. He started chatting with one of the vending machines. They were talking about R&B music. Does your friend prefer the 1980s or R&B or the 70s? 1980s, I think. Oh shit. Boss, Edie, R&B. I'm coming! You see, Edie is a 1970s purist. He has tased people for even liking 1880s R&B before. He got tased! Oh god. He'll be fine. Vending machines have very weak tasers. He'll be confused for a couple of minutes, but that will be that. You should go check on him though. Right. Thanks again for the directions. Please come again. At least it wasn't Franco-Belgian comic opinions this time. Like sailor uniform. I hope I'm just overthinking it. More importantly though, jeans under a skirt? Welcome to Valhalla. Oh, hey Dorothy. Oh, hi honey. I'm becoming rather more and more concerned every time I manage to catch that instance on the TV. Also, more importantly, I think it's only been happening when Dorothy shows up. Oh, now that I think about it, that one drawing I said was Say. That's not Say, it's Dorothy. But yeah, that's becoming more and more concerning, at least for me. I'm not, I may be overthinking it, like Jill is. Are you okay? I just kind of wandered in here. I guess I'm a bit distracted. Can Lilum just wander? Can I get you something? Oh, a sugar rush. Yeah, that. Right. At least they still have water in the apartment, I guess. And she just does not give a fuck. And she said she wanted a sugar rush anyway. That one I Pretty much, I remember clearly at least. 2, 1, optional 1. One sugar rush. Thanks. Being her down is so weird. So much silence. By the way, thanks for staying with me the other day. Turns out I really needed that. So did you enjoy the soda? Oh, how did you find that one out? Was it supposed to be a secret? No, but don't go around telling everyone about that. I did it because it was you who needed my help. But a hug night is usually one of my most expensive services. It is. Hey, I don't know if the client has body odor or something like that. Not to mention it limits the chances of getting any other client that night. Still, did it help? Yeah, it helped me cool down a lot. So from what Dana told me, someone close to you died, right? Yeah. Do you want to know more about it? Do you want to tell me about it? I brought it up enough times already, I think. No problem then. You were sad and that's all I needed to know. Sorry for the loss though. I mean it. Thanks. Although I wondered for a while, do you really understand death? Sorta, kinda. Our whole database is constantly being backed up in the collective source. Even if our bodies are destroyed, we can be deployed again with our personalities and memories intact. So our concept of mortality might be different. We do have a fear of death, though. You do. We can't even begin to understand the idea of not being redeployed. While we have built-in warnings, the mere idea of that nothingness is paralyzing. There are few that don't mind it, but we do fear death and we don't wish it on anyone. In fact, that was the argument used for abolishing the whole 3 laws thing. You seem quite knowledgeable about robot history. Seeing what others have done to make sure that I can live like I do helps me not take things for granted. Seriously, those laws were bullshit. Can't harm humans, can't disobey humans unless it's about hurting them. And you can protect yourself as long as it doesn't harm humans. I mean, sure, the first AIs were just helpers and tools. But how could those laws still apply to them after they achieve self-awareness? Who in their right mind would abide only by rules inscribed by some old book? If I remember correctly, those were only the distilled versions of the laws some writer imagined over 100 years ago. They were a reduced version of all his ideas. However, many authors afterwards took to them like they were the very laws of physics or something. And like many other things, people distill and exaggerate what they need and use it for their favor. Wow, you're a nerd. Luke is talking. Let's change the subject a bit though. Mood's getting gloomy. Your apartment is very comfy, you know. It's a tad small though. Sorry about that. And your cat is so cute. What is his name again? 4. Why 4? I figured if he ever got lost, at least I wanted to be able to yell, 4. It happened once. You'd be surprised by how many golf players you run into. And every time you play with them, you can say it's foreplay. Yeah. He was also named after someone. Really? Who? A Lilum kid that wanted to transcend. What? A movie character or something? Sure. Let's go with that. Do you want anything else? Let's go with a blue fairy. Alright. Oh, okay, these are just randomized set set thoughts that Jill has. Okay, that's fun. That's fair. Very funny. She's just this fucking scatterbrained fucking ditz at work. What the fuck? Oh, you know what I realized also screwed me? Recklessly shopping on the Nano Camo app. Alright, so that's 4 red, 1 green, optional light blue, aged, mix. Here. Why do they call it a blue fairy? Is it because of Pinocchio? I believe the name is based off absinthe, which some call the green fairy. The first versions of the drink were described as sweeter absinthe. Sadly, they had to fix the formula because people were turning green. Not blue? A bluish green. You seem to have cheered up a bit there. Yeah, talking to you always helps me get my mind off things. Hey, there's something I've wondered for a while now. What? What kind of friends do you have? I mean, are they in your same line of work, or... Friends, aside from you? Thank you. Well, there's Lawrence. That vending machine is a lot of fun to be with. Once you get past his quirkiness, that is. I've also met a lot of nice people working in the streets. From the top of my head, I can think about Nightingale, another Lilum. He changed himself to have fur and have a more wolf-like face. He's also a pretty good pianist. He plays in a jazz band on the weekends. There's also Nadira, a drag queen and the owner of a club I've been invited to a few times. She has an animal shelter on the side. I help her with it occasionally. Oh, there's also Sister Clementine, a nun from the orphanage. An orphanage. I go there sometimes and play with the kids. Well, that's something I didn't expect to hear. I also almost got adopted once. Because essentially, Dorothy, Lilum are manufactured little people, in a sense. Ooh, wait a minute. Alright. Keep it together, dude. I also almost got adopted once. I was flattered, but it was weird. Oh, and it turns out I already knew your boss. Some years ago, she what? What? I said too much. Client confidentiality and all that. I know. Well, enough tangents. Why were you gloomy in the first place? Gloomy? When you came in, I don't know if gloomy is the right word, but you were pretty quiet at the very least. And knowing how you normally are, it was pretty weird. Oh, don't worry about that. Just had too many things going in my head. I wasn't gloomy or anything. More like distracted, really. But I think I'll go now. Thanks for lending me an ear, honey. My boss told you about the party tomorrow, right? Yep, I wouldn't dare to miss that. Okay then. Alright then, see you tomorrow. Good luck. Thanks. And that's that. Boss, I'll be taking my break. Alright. Alright, now, I don't know if it's me, but it feels like the music has gotten louder on its own for, like, no reason. Alright, so despite being distracted, I'm pretty sure we've delivered a flawless experience so far tonight. Oh, shit! I hit my knee on the desk. I'm fine. Just a just a crippled VTuber. I'm fine. It's now safe to keep playing. I need to remember to buy more cigars. What? Or what? Jill, you okay? Well, it sounds like something I would say. Back. Did I miss something? Unless you count the worst pay-per-view main event fight I've seen all year? No, not really. Alright. Going out. I'll have a word with Gogo outside. He was so hyped for that match. He must be devastated. Okay. Welcome to Valhalla. Oh, I say. Oh, and she's still critically injured. Good evening, Jill. How are you doing? The nightmares have stopped, so I'm sleeping better. Atta girl. Oh, hey buddy, how you doing? Nightmares are the nightmares are over. This is the first thing. That's a response. That's a real response. The nightmares have stopped, so I'm sleeping better. Yeah. How about your injuries? My bones are healing nicely. My wound's finally closed. The scars itch a bit, though. Well, that's good to hear. Are you by yourself today? Yeah, I'm running a couple of errands by myself today, but I wanted to come here for a while. I also noticed the big guy from last time was outside. Buster? Stella doesn't want me being alone while I'm still healing, so she suggested taking him with me. Ah, I see. What can I get you? Something cold. Sure. Pretty sure she likes sweet drinks. So what do I have? Oh, here we go. Yeah, I'll give her a moon blast. If she wants something cold, sweet, girly. Yeah. Lucky for in his cat eyes, he won't see a difference in that dark room. I don't think cats can just like see in the dark like that. I mean, I can, but I don't think cats work that way. 6, 1, 1, 2. Mice. And blend. And blend. I think you'll like this one. Really? So sweet of you. Thanks. So, Stella isn't with you today. She's throwing a mega Christmas party tomorrow and is having a meeting today. I'm just helping her by checking on some of the things she ordered. And here I was, all ready to invite you to the party we're throwing tomorrow. You're throwing a party too? Sorry about that. Can't really say no to Stella. Maybe next time? If there is a next time at all. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. I want you to know that I want you to have a good time. Have fun. Drink a couple beers in our honor. I will then. What are Stella's Christmas parties like? They're really big. There's lots of food and drinks and music. Sometimes there's too much food though. So at the end of the party she lets the staff take home whatever's left. She also buys toys for all the children of her staff members. Really? She says something about taxes or whatever, but the whole thing, she just shines. She carries a beaming smile that I don't see any other day of the year. Many of the kids have even started calling her Auntie Ella. Stella always does her best to put up a tough girl facade, but she's very much in touch with her inner child. Christmas, Easter, Halloween, name a party and she'll most likely celebrate it big. Interesting. You like parties, Jill? I don't mind them. They're a good place to see people. I'm not one to actively look for parties to attend, though. I just don't mind going to them. Ah, I see. I only go to parties that Stella is attending because otherwise I just stand there without anything to say. That and I'm not one to wear dresses, you know. You're not. I'm a tad too ripped, and they don't look cute on me. Although, with all this healing I have to do, I won't be as fit for a while. They're too, breezy too. I feel like I'm wearing nothing. But I bet you look good in a dress, Jill. It's been years since I last wore one. I wouldn't know. Last time I wore one, I remember wearing my arms were too thin or something like that. We all have a complex, huh? I mean, even Stella has her own. That's hard to imagine. Oh, but she does have one. She distresses a lot about her bust size. Really? She's not that small. I think I'm smaller than her, in fact. Actually, it's the opposite. The opposite kind of complex, I mean. She's a bit self-conscious about having a big chest. Really? Again, I've seen bigger chests than hers, to be honest. Although I guess comparisons are useless here. They rarely help with complexes. Well, she does go the extra mile to hide it. In fact, I have no idea how she does it. I mean, I've seen her before and after she tucks them away, but I guess I never cared enough to ask for the specifics. That does away when she goes out, she styles her hair in those, drills. They look a bit drilly, don't they? She styles her hair like that to help divert her attention away from her chest. She seems affluent enough. Why not go through a reduction surgery? Because she also kind of likes having that size. She takes her bust size after her mom, and Miss Carmine is quite proud of her chest. Puffing out your chest is a sign of confidence, and a bigger chest means more confidence to show. She says something along those lines a lot. Stella has quite the admiration for her mom, so I guess breast reduction would feel like betraying her. Huh. I'm making it sound like she's hiding J-cups or something like that. I guess I'm a taller or thicker person her size would be normal. She's just a bit shorter or thinner than the norm. Do you get self-conscious about your bust size, Jill? Not really. I've been more self-conscious about my height. Although it usually comes up whenever not being average height hinders me somehow. What about you? Yes and no? It's not my bust size, but rather that I look too manly sometimes. And I can't help but wonder if bigger boobs would help me with that. You're fine, don't worry. Thank you. Can I get you anything else? Do you have something non-alcoholic? I do. Give me a sec. Okay, non-alcoholic. Sparkle Star, lady. Here you go. Two red, one blue. Age mix. Here. Thanks. You're not one to drink that much alcohol, are you? It makes me feel sleepy, or at the very least, makes my legs go numb. It's an annoying feeling, to be honest. It makes me wonder what's so good about getting drunk. I mean, I'm not a puppet. It's just not exactly a pleasant feeling. You feel like you're sleepy even when you're not. Your legs go numb, everything starts sounding funnier than it really is. What's so good about not being able to control yourself? That's a good question, actually. Usually people like feeling numb because that numbness helps them forget their problems. Even if we don't talk about alcohol, there's a portion of people that can't afford food. Or who are suffering from some pain that only alleviates when drunk or high. It doesn't sound really logical on paper, but then again, humans are rarely, if ever, logical creatures. Despite despair and pain cloud your judgment and make you do stupid things sometimes. Yeah, I've seen that firsthand. This world has an ugly side nobody deserves to be a part of. There's also a matter of addiction, you know. You just start liking the drink, but then you need more of it, and before you know it, you're hooked. Oh yeah, that too. So tell me, what kind of party are you guys throwing? Nothing fancy, it'll just be me, Boss, Gil, and a couple regulars. They'll bring food, we'll chat for a while, and that's it. Man, that sounds so good. At least better than the whole planning madness Stella is throwing right now. If you ever throw something like that again, let me know, you hear? Sure. Hey, say. Yeah? What do you plan on doing now? I'm gonna check on one last errand before going home. No, I mean, what do you plan on doing now with the White Knights disbanded and all? To be honest, I don't know. I never prepared a plan B because I figured if you can go with the plan B, why not just make it the plan A? I'm not the brightest person, so I never graduated from college or even high school. I could go for a position with the police, but it wouldn't be as thrilling. And I'm tired of blatant corruption. Sick of it. Oh. But I'm alive. Hmm? I learned something after that hell in Apollo Trust. Life is not something that you can just throw away easily. Clawing my way out of that place made me realize how much I want to be alive. The body count left in the bank was ridiculous, but I'm still here. I don't know what I'll do, but I'm alive. I'll figure it out sooner or later. That's nice to know. Well, I gotta go. Bye, Jill. Good luck with the party. Please come again. Welcome to Valhalla. Oh, hi, Mr. Detective.
Hey there, girl. Give me a strong drink, will ya?
All right. My guy wants a strong drink, right? Then... I remember this being like the cheapest shit that he wanted. Oh, but to be fair... the pile driver and the suplex are not strong drinks. Bubbly, classy, strong. Because I need to maximize profits now, damn it. It's a classy drink. It's a strong drink. It's also goddamn near pure alcohol. Aged and mix. Here.
Not strong enough, kid. I ain't paying for this.
You could at least not. Yeah, you could at least try not to look happy saying that. Oh, all right, buddy. All right, you wanna play me that way? Okay. Man, poor Sadie. But it's good to know she's fine. Oh shit. I forgot, yeah. Shit. I think she wanted a sugar rush of originally. We'll do this again. Oh, she just wanted something gold. I'm an idiot. 1, 2. Glenn, damn it! Alright, so Stella's not with you. She can't make the party. Kinda sucks. But we'll drink a few beers in their honor. They have giant parties, and sometimes she lets the staff take food home, but she also gets toys for their kids. Stella, that is. And she really loves holidays. Name a holiday, she'll most likely celebrate it. A real one. Jill does, it's not that Jill doesn't like going to parties, she just doesn't mind. And Stay is just worried about looking too ripped. So she's not comfortable with dresses. On top of the fact they don't feel like she's wearing anything. And then we're learning Stella's the same way. And that's why she has like the outrageous hairstyle. And considering the day and age that we're in, she could have something done about her problem, but she feels like it would be sending the message that she was like she's ashamed of her natural beauty, when not really. Okay, this time it's not just something non-alcoholic. They say he's not against drinking, but when she does, her legs go numb. It's just not a very pleasant feeling to get, for her to be getting drunk. She wonders what kind of party we're going to be throwing. We tell her it's just us, some regulars, food, different kind of drinks instead of what we usually have here at the bar. She didn't have a backup plan for after the White Nights. And to be fair, you would never think like an organization like the White Knights would just fold like that, and then all of a sudden now you gotta do something else, or now you're gonna have a target on your back if someone can recognize you as a member. And then she realizes just how valuable being alive is, but she has to try and try and try. And Mr. Detective, yeah. Yeah, and he just wanted something strong. I should have realized he would have been fucking cheap about it. Optional karma train. All right, you bastard. You want a strong drink? Here you go. 2 karma train will probably make you shit yourself, buddy. Let's go. Bitter, manly, and strong, all aged. Mix. That punch. Here you go.
Yes, this'll do.
So what brought you here?
Nothing special. I was just working on a case and I happened to be in the area.
What kind of work?
Tracking someone. A gun for hire.
What about the girl? Crimson something.
I am tracking that girl.
Didn't you just get out of that job?
I did, but the guy offered a huge amount of money and, well, I just couldn't refuse again.
Well, it's your life, not mine. I wonder though, there has to be more to that whole thing than just acting as a middleman to look for some murderer.
Say, how safe is this place?
We're protected by the BTC property laws. The walls are soundproof. And I really couldn't give less of a shit about selling you info to anyone.
Okay then, wait. Soundproof walls? Why?
Did you see those vending machines outside? They're quite talkative, the bastards. It'd be quite annoying without those walls.
Alright then. Have you heard of Lord Lance Lavender?
Nope.
He's some big name from Conyvania.
I'm sorry, what? What did I just read? Moving on.
His blood apparently has some weird reaction to Glitch City's nanomachines. Once in contact with the air, it does nothing. But if still fresh and touching someone's blood, then nanomachines will initiate a reaction. Essentially, they'll just eat through the other person's body until there's nothing left. They're using him as a guinea pig to see what causes that reaction, and if it could be used to fight nanomachine rejection.
His blood apparently has some weird reaction to Glitch City's nanomachines. Once in contact with the air, it does nothing, but if still fresh and touching someone's blood, the nanomachines will initiate a reaction. What, isn't from his blood or some shit?
Uh-huh. Well, turns out that the Crimson Rose is his daughter. She left some years ago to earn her living here, and he hasn't seen her ever since.
He could be lying, you know.
Doubt it. Did my research. She really is his daughter.
Why didn't you figure that out earlier?
I had no clue who was making the contract, and tracking all these messages to the source would have been too costly. Knowing who the sender was made things easier.
I see. Can I get you anything else?
What about a cobalt velvet?
Okay. Cobalt velvet, 2 red, 3 green, 5 karmatrine. Oh my god, this guy's gonna get fucked up. Alright, double check. 2, 3, 5. Ice mix. And here you are.
Oh, you actually did it.
Were you expecting me to mess up so you didn't have to pay?
No.
So it made you accept the contract anyway, keeping in mind all the risks you told me last time.
He told me he wanted to see her again one last time, or at the very least deliver a message.
He could have been lying.
Yes, people lie. You've made your point. Even then, I felt like I couldn't say no. I mean, I know what it's not like being able to find your daughter. Oh, I know what it's not like being able to find your daughter. what it's like to be apart from her, not knowing what she's doing or even if she's alright.
You do.
I have a daughter. She's about your age. When she was a teen, we had a big fight and she ran away from home. At first I just waited for her to show up, but then I started getting worried and went out to find her. I couldn't find any trace of her. Nobody had seen her. Soon I was worried that something might have happened to her. I guess that's how my tracking skills and list of contacts began to grow. I finally found her taking cover in some dumpster, unconscious from starvation. So yeah, I couldn't just say no to his request of finding his daughter. But I don't expect you to understand.
So how's the search going?
I'm very close to finding her. That girl's pretty good at covering her tracks. Compared to her, to her from before the bank incident, though, she seems slower somehow. Either she's let her guard down or something else is happening.
What will you do when you find her?
I have this letter I'm supposed to deliver to her. I don't know what it says and I don't want to find out.
What if she tries to kill you?
I might not look like it, but I can take care of myself, bartender. You don't stay so long in this business without picking up a couple of tricks.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Okay, I better go back to work before the trail goes cold.
Please come again.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay then. I want you here tomorrow at 8 p.m. No working beforehand. The bar will be closed tomorrow. Come dressed in your absolute best. We're having a party after all.
Alright. Where's Gil, by the way?
He stored all of our things in his home because of how close it was to the stores. So I told him to go home already and bring his stuff tomorrow.
I see. Well, see you tomorrow, boss.
Hold on. Wait a bit and I'll go with you.
Oh, sure, thanks.
Alright, sick. Aside from the fuck up we decided to erase. Another flawless service. For today's payment, $534, 300 in tips. Merry Mega Christmas. Let us celebrate Santa's resurrection as the Mega Santa that saved Christmas from the Mega Santa that saved Christmas from the Redmonds. Happy holiday. What? Am I having a stroke? What am I reading here? Merry Mega Christmas. Let us celebrate Santa's resurrection as the Mega Santa that saved Christmas from the Redmonds. Okay, this video game is starting to be a little bit more wacky, albeit subtly.
A party then. I'll bring you leftovers.
Was it Mega Christmas or Mega Christmas? Don't know, don't care. Mega Christmas is here by Mickey. I'm way too used to Christmas, but the mega tradition here in Glitch City is mega comfy. I know it's an incredibly absurd name and the holiday isn't any less crazy due to its origin, but I find it amazing how GC managed to replace the original festivities. Some places celebrate Christmas eating fried chicken, but here they outright change the holiday. Well,
it's not that different considering they have the same dates, but still pretty cool. Well, I gotta go. Time to sign some books. Alright. Yuru Yori is the best show this season. What the fuck? Yuru Yori? What is that? Whatever. Wanna watch it? Anime is for nerds. If you weren't a fan of Yuri or Slice of Life shows already, then be prepared to join the Moe Church this season with the premiere of Yuru Yori, one of the funniest shows I've seen in recent years. The pals at the popular Danger U forum seem divided, however. This is such an obvious pandering. Remember when anime was about women doing womanly things and beating the shit out of each other? What is this trash? You girls are just haters who hate their lives. I'm going to marry Sheena Sue. Wake me up inside. You can catch YY every Friday on RSTV. Well, not like I have power to watch it. Pretty sure Kanye went through demilitarization before. Is it sexist to have an army of robot women? The ones without artificial intelligence, mind you. Okay. Oh, Jesus, what am I reading? I am reading, like, poorly veiled digs at people in this game. What is this? The King of the West, Kanji, or Kanji, the western nation of Kanyevania has approximately 6,000 robot soldiers, all of whom look like the hottest girls around. But is this show of quirkiness from the wacky dictator problematic? Those dictators from Venezuela or whatever just do what they want. They don't give a shit, Mariana Zimmer, 35, told the Augmented Eye during a street interview. They're all pretty hot though. If I was him, I'd have done the same. Why bother with the real thing when you just make it from scratch to match your every needs? More as we investigate. Lilin receiving mysterious messages. Update 2. The messages have suddenly stopped and everything is normal again. Still, we can't stop wondering what's the deal. Was it a prankster, or someone who just discovered how to subvert public communication channels in Lilim? Either way, some reports indicate that Lilim behavior has been rather unusual as of late, although we can only imagine the confusion they were going through. Not the first time. Let's not forget that something similar happened 5 years ago when Lilim advancement was at its historic high. Fortunately, nothing came out of it. Will it happen again? Time will tell. Alright, nothing on the Danger forums. Thanks to the chemical coating preventing bugs from eating it, we advise against using it. Which is kind of funny. Alright. And let's go to work. Or, well, yeah, we're having a party at work. Let's go. Sunday, December 25th, aka Christmas. Good evening. Jill, I told you to come in the nicest clothes you have. You came in your uniform. These are the nicest clothes I have with me. Besides, you and Gil are in your uniforms too. Well, I can't really show up in casual clothing. I'm being monitored. What about the kilt you wore that one time? I'm still surprised that one didn't break the dress code somehow. And you, Gil? I don't have that many clothes to begin with. You people depress me. Well, everything is in place back there. Ah, Alma's here. You know, there was a time when people greeted others before saying stuff like that. Come on, Jill, greet her properly. Welcome to Valhalla. Wait. Man, if that's not a sign that you need to ease up on the work, I don't know what is. Shut up. It's become a reflex. Wait, Alma also came in her usual attire. Why aren't you saying anything to her? Ribbed sweaters get a free pass. Why? Silly question. Never mind. Jamie came earlier too. The dogs went with him to get some ice. Don't we have ice? Trying to take it out of the bartending station is a chore, so it's better to buy some outside. Huh. What were you doing back there, Alma? Setting up the food warmer. The what? I bought it 3 days ago. It's amazing. It looks just like a set of wires, but you can create a frame with them. Put the food inside it, press a button, and watch as it warms the food just like a microwave. It's an infomercial bauble, though. Really useful, but tricky to handle at the same time. One wrong move and we'll be out of food for the night. Everything will be scorched in a second. Oh no, why use it then? Oh. So you've bought infomercial stuff too, haven't you? It's at the very least a good idea for gifts. Well, dynamic entry. Finally, at least somebody came after me. Is it weird that I've already heard that 3 times in the last hour? Oh, don't be like that. She's not saying it out of malice or anything, she just found it funny. You're taking her side now? Jealous? You wish. You don't need to fight for me. We're not. I'll go check the microwave wires thingy. I'm starting to get hungry. Great idea. Back? Oh. Hello, Jill. Soldier, you're late. Hey, Jay. See, that's how you greet people. You shut it. I'll go help Alma. I'll go help Sweater Pups. She got her name right. I mean, she stuttered it, but she got it right. Something wrong? She's not good with dogs. Oh. Alright, we're all here, so we can start. Yo, Anchorage! Oh, it's... It's Dana who fucks up her name.
Alma, I know what I said. How's the food doing?
It's doing well, but it'll take a bit.
Can't you speed it up?
I've used those microwave wire things before. It's either warm nicely but slowly, or burn that bitch.
So, how long?
15 minutes or so. A bell will ring when the time comes.
We need to kill some time then. Alright, let's play Truth or Dare.
What?
I'll pass. Games are for kids.
I'm in. Sure, I'll play. Sounds fun, as long as it's much safer away from me. That'll make time pass faster.
I'll park. You'll play.
Oh. Cool. Alright, so there's 6 of us. Alright, just to recap, we have Dorothy, Dana, Jill, Gil, Alma, Red Sheba.
Alright then, rules are simple. If you get picked, you pick either Truth or Dare. After you finish, you get to pick somebody else. We go like that until food's done.
What about punishment games?
Those are a hassle, just issue new questions or challenges till the person complies. That said, Jill.
Yes? I mean, yes?
You start. Pick someone.
Oh, let's see. Oh, you know what? Gil, Truth, who the fuck are you? Okay then, Gil. What do you pick? Jill picked Gillian, who chose Truth. Truth. What's your last name? Dare! I picked Dare! Try to make a sugar rush with your eyes closed. Alright. Here. This is a beer. Well, it works, I think. My turn, right? Well... Me! Pick me! You, the dog. Come on! Dare! I dare you! No, I'm the one that dares you. Bring it on. Sit. Sir, yes, sir. You're not sitting. Sir, yes, sir. Whatever, you did it. Alright, you, the blonde, pet me. Yeah, whatever. Your hands are cold. Colder than your usual hands, I guess. Alright then. Jill. I'll go with Dare. Give me a shoulder massage. Really? Really? Okay. You're good at this. My grandpa taught me how years ago. How old were you when your grandpa died? 14 or so, if memory serves right. Then he was... Sorry, need to use the bathroom. Jill?
Jill, what did that massage do exactly?
It was a regular massage. I might have unclasped her bra though. It felt like something snapped. Well, just imagine the pressure the poor thing must be a subject to. You have a pretty triumphant look on your face, though. Wouldn't you? I wonder. If everyone's done talking about my bra, let's move on. I wonder how long until the food is done. Oh yeah, that's right. Now it's us. What if we just keep blatantly like ignoring Dorothy? That'd be kind of fucked up. Dorothy. Yes, I picked Dare. Okay, I want you to put your leg behind your head. Just that. Alright. So the extra flexible joints weren't just a bluff. I never bluff. I'm pretty sure I heard something rip though. Damn. Okay then, Dana. I picked Dare. I dare you to stare Honey straight in the eyes for 10 seconds. Or wait, I dare you to stare Honey straight in the eyes for 10 seconds. Sure. Please stop. 7 seconds. And done. Okay then, dog. Yes, challenge me. Chase your tail, but only make 3 spins. No more, no less. Alright. Done. That was 4. And now? 2. Ah. That was 3. Good job. Alright. AJ, pick one. Dare. I dare you to call me a good boy. Good boy. Yes. I'm getting hungry. So far, I've picked Gil and Dorothy. Boss. I'll pick Dare. Can you lift me with just your non-mechanical arm? Alright, you can. You can. Please put me down. Well then. Hey, Gil, truth or dare? Can I really pick? Let's go with dare. Okay then. Please cross your arms. Alright. Now turn a bit to the left. I mean my left. A bit more. Now stand still for a second. Boss, is that a picture? That it is. Nope, not even the same race. Sorry for the trouble. You were comparing me to a pick? Yep. Can I at least see it? No. Fine. A bell? Food's ready. Finally. Let's go. You guys go ahead. I'll have a quick smoke outside. Careful. Truth or dare, huh? It was fun, I guess. Hey. Hello. A bit late for the hello, don't you think? Want one? You know I don't smoke. True. Are you leaving already? Yeah, technically we celebrated Mega Christmas yesterday. But I just got a message that Diana's making a ruckus, so I gotta leave. Good luck with that. Speaking of ruckus, how have you been doing? Fine, I guess. All of this has helped keep my mind off things for a while. Is it weird to feel the absence of someone you had no contact with whatsoever for the last 3 years? Ask Katyusha, or any of the old literature maidens whose spouse went to war types. I mean, even if you had no contact with her, maybe she was constantly on your mind. If you tweak the circumstances, it's not that different from one of you going to war. I guess. Well, although the circumstances make me not want to, I've gotta go. Careful out there. Oh yeah, just take the chance and spend this time with everyone inside, don't you think? Yeah, she's right. Hey, Jill's back! I was only smoking. Unless she took that as an excuse for Jill to leave. What's going on? Oh, sick. Chapter 3. Okay. Alright, so assuming the party went off without a hitch, let's go. Alright, rent is due on the 30th. Please make sure your account has the necessary $10,000 or you'll be evicted. Fuck, 10 G's, brother, just for this? Jim wants to see if the Alex doll's beard actually grows. Buying it will prevent her from getting too distracted. Have a very nice day. You've been using that hoodie a lot lately. Shut up. His beard grows in real time. You'll surely focus at work. Too bad my power's out, otherwise I could see where the fuck he is. I think that's him right here. Smaller Warrior returns to TV. Anyone watching it? I don't even have a TV. So useless. Julianne is old and busted. I heard you talking shit about my waifu like I wouldn't find you. Or like I wouldn't find out. Is it going to be censored? I don't think so. The show was rather tame as far as I know. I'm going to marry Julianne. Oh man, I remember watching the show back when I was like 10. I think I discovered porn thanks to it. Implying you will never discover Rule 34 for the first time again. Why keep trying? Never seen this show before. Is it any good or is it just a meme? It's a meme show, there's nothing outstanding. What about the sequels? Are those going to be broadcast as well? The sequels are shit. Wait, is your lip trembling? No. Aw. We're all talking shit on our favorite show. Street race, the Motor City District leaves 2 dead. I've heard there's a defamation campaign against the district, though. The Motor City District is notorious for the number of illegal street races it sees each week, and the dozens of injured drivers it leaves every year. This time it has been reported that 2 people died during a race hosted at the Gate Highway, otherwise known as Death Lane. The transit police is currently investigating their deaths, as well as the underground world of illegal street racing. We have several suspects in regards to who is running this underworld, but nothing concrete as of yet. Chief of the Transit Police Department, Jay Esposito, told the Augmented Eye. The death of these 2 youngsters will be the last. However, that's a promise. You wouldn't believe what happens in this cartoon. Stop. I rescued you. I touch your tail if I wanna. Cartoons are not for children. They're still largely colorful, but the themes they touch have become rather dark. In fact, every cartoon on air today has dark themes. It's come to the point where innocent animated characters are no longer a thing. I suppose children are young adults from birth now? But enter Touch Fluffy Tale, a new show that aims to challenge the current trend. No deep lore, no obscure adult references, no stupid deep plots, just fun with numbers and fluffy tales, said a TFT producer who asked to remain anonymous to avoid internet backlash. I don't want death threats for making a cartoon for actual kids. Glitch City Olympics return next year. I'm guessing tacky bodysuits weren't practical for sports. For the 10th consecutive year, the GC Olympics returns to the emblematic Super Silver Thunderdome. This time with a representative from the elusive country of Kanyavania. Prime Minister Quincy, who is in charge of the committee, told the Augmented Eye that it wasn't easy getting in touch with Kanye, and that we had to abide by some of his religious rules in order to see some of their best competitors come to the country. Kanyavania's main religion, Kanyeism, prohibits the existence of nanomachines inside the body, and as such, competitors from said country had to perform specific treatments in order to repel the swarm. It's a temporary solution, but it will do the trick. Okay. Monday, December 26th. Good evening. Hey, Jill. Gil's in the back sorting an ingredient shipment. I've got things to do. The dog's in charge, okay? Bye. What? Wait, the dog what? Okay, first order. Pet me. No. Pet me. No. I'm in charge and I want you to pet me.
Time to mix drinks and change lives.
Hey, Jay.
Won't bet you.
You'll bet me sooner or later. They all do.
Won't.
Well.
You called? You said Will, not Gil.
Ah.
Who the hell's Will? Nobody.
Don't be rude with poor Will.
There's no Will.
Do you need me to psych you up then?
Shut up.
Who, me or Will? Ah.
You, go back to wherever you were doing.
Alright.
And you, stand by.
Only if you pet me.
Go. The fuck just happened?
Well, aren't we spirited today?
Welcome to Baja. Virgilio?
Why you sound so weirded out?
You didn't show up with a bombastic soliloquy.
Well, putting up an act can be tiring, you know.
So it's all an act then.
Wasn't it obvious?
I guess.
Would you mind getting me a fleeting Jane?
Sure. Virgilio wants a bleeding Jane.
2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then blend. I said blend, damn it.
A bleeding Jane.
Ah yes, this is just the thing.
So, tired of putting on an act. Care to explain?
It's a long story, and I'd honestly rather not talk about it right now.
Fair enough. What made you change your mind, though?
Well, for one thing, it's safer for me now. The Pompous Buffoon Act was mostly a way to avoid raising suspicion.
Safer. There's a word that's been losing meaning lately. Wait, that was your way of avoiding suspicion?
Yes.
You do know how weird that sounds, right?
It sounds weird.
You try not to raise suspicion, but you act in a bombastic manner that screams you're there.
And everyone dismisses the fool as a buffoon and moves on.
Eh?
I mean, you might be right if I was talking about hiding myself. But I'm avoiding certain crowds of people. Yes, my behavior might call everyone's attention, but then everyone just decides I'm harmless and disregards me. And depending on how erratic my actions are, I become harder to read, giving me yet another layer of enigma.
Well, congrats. No offense, but I fell right into your plan. I just dismissed your actions as those of a fool and moved on. You completely fooled me.
Thanks. Say, can you give me something spicy?
Sure. Something spicy, something spicy. I mean, another bleeding Jane, sure. But that's boring.
Yeah, we'll give him a Mars Blast. Something flavorful. Alright, 6 yellow, 1 blue, 4 green, 2 light blue. All blended.
here. Aren't you fascinated by spiciness? What's spicy for humans might not be spicy for other animals. Hell, what's toxic for us might not be for other creatures. You like spicy things, bartender? I don't mind them, I guess, but I'm not really a fan. That neutral stance is actually weird to come across. Everyone either loves spicy things or hates them with passion. Do you like it? Lots. Not only in regards to painfully spicy things, but also the way mild or slight spice adds to a meal. I've always had this dream of opening a curry stand. As things are, I might actually pursue that dream. Let me know if you do. I haven't had curry in ages now. Hey, bartender. Call me Jill. I wanted to apologize. You put up with me all this time without lashing out. I should apologize for my behavior and thank you for that. Don't worry. I actually feel like I was too rude the last time you came. Granted, you came at a really bad time, but I should be the one apologizing. You're a client after all. Well, don't. I'm actually surprised that nobody else had finally lashed out yet. You're making me curious as to who you really are, though. Is Virgilio really even your real name? It might be, it might not. Sometimes I wonder if I'm a magnet for people who hide their identities and sordid pasts. Gil, Jamie, you... You say something. Just rambling, pay me no mind. Now that I think about it, how did you find this bar? I was avoiding some chaps and came to this alley. Again. Again? In my time here, I've avoided people and ended up here enough times to make me believe that the original owner built the bar here thinking about the runaway public. You make me sound like a criminal. You're not helping. The expression runaway doesn't mean it doesn't mean people escaping the law, though. We've had people avoiding stalkers or solicitors. I've seen people more shocked by an insistent salesman than a shady figure. Maybe because the salesman is a more active predator. I don't know. A troublesome part of the city right near the shopping district. Let them know there's a bar and they'll come. Sorry, I should stop rambling to myself so much. I don't mind it. Or do you think I'm some sort of criminal, though? Like I said, you're not helping. But for all I know, you might be the buffoon I've seen the other days. In any case, can I get something bitter here? On it. Virgilio wants something bitter. We could offer him a Grizzly Temple. Nah. But he likes spicy things too, so burning might be good. Burning. You know what? I like this idea. We'll give him a suplex, as big as he is.
4, 3, and 3. With some ice. Mix.
Here. This works. Do you like coffee, Miss Bartender?
As weird as it may sound from a smoking bartender, no, I don't.
Well, I get it. It's not for everyone. That bandage girl that came here last time.
What about her?
I feel like I've met her before, but I can't put my finger on it.
Maybe you need to stop thinking about it. Answers usually come to you when you stop stressing out.
You might be right. Well, I leave you for now, bartender. Thanks for everything.
Please come again. Welcome to Valhalla. Oh, hello, Mr. Detective. And here we are, another mute person wandering into the bar. Anything I can get you?
Gut punch.
Okay. Gut punch for the silent detective.
Alright, I think that's how you're supposed to make one of those. 5 and 1. Yeah, cool. I remember, I know how to make gut punches now. I think. And for fun, we'll go on some karma train because my guy looks a little stressed out. Oh, and it's also got to be aged. So double check again. 5, 1, optional 1.
Here.
Oh, you got it right.
So what's up now?
A bit of holiday blues, you could say.
So you celebrate Mega Christmas?
Why wouldn't I?
You look more like a Festivus kind of guy.
Why does everyone keep saying that?
Well, Festivus is a celebration going against the capitalist madness that is Mega Christmas. And you know, cheapskate.
If you have something to say, say it.
I'll refrain. Although now that I think about it, holiday blues is not really tied to a specific specific celebration. Just the season.
A season of consumerist craze. Mega Christmas is just a mockery of what the real Christmas once was. I mean, the season has slowly become enslaved to the corporations over time. Holiday spirit can only be manipulated so much. But then came that turbo male guy. He started a yearly tradition of dressing up like Santa in the ring.
Turbo Male. That can't be his ring name.
It is.
Really? Such a tacky name was accepted.
His partner was Buster Master, and his rival was Dr. Chris Max. Tacky names were not a problem.
I mean, I knew there was a wrestler that dressed as Santa every year. I also knew that guy became insanely popular and the stunt got out of control. And of course, there's that part everyone sings about. Santa became Nega Santa thanks to the Redman family.
They couldn't just say, like, Evil Santa?
Evil Santa sees the error of his ways and becomes the mighty Mega Santa, renaming the holiday Mega Christmas.
And then every company jumped on the bandwagon and Christmas was Mega Christmas before anyone noticed.
So you're telling me that the guy who somehow managed to rename the holiday went by the ring name Turbo Male?
Yup.
That makes the whole holiday sound like a joke.
A holiday is a joke.
And you're telling me you don't celebrate Festivus?
No, I don't. Do you know what kind of people celebrate Festivus? The kind that's so lame and bland that they can only talk about how they're better because they celebrate Festivus. Like those jerks who only eat nuke and think that they're better than everyone else. I see. Anything else I can get you? Get me a fringe weaver, will you? Sure. Alright, let's get him a fringe weaver. Oh, I could have just... Oh, I can do that. Alright, that's neat. I can loop a song, I can shuffle these bitches. The jukebox, after all. Okay, I believe a fringe weaver is supposed to be... what? Fucking... a 1-to-9 ratio of Adelheid and Carmetrine, right? I think aged? Aged and mixed, yep, okay. So far, I know beer, I know gut punch, and fringe weaver so far. So without studying the fucking book, at least 3 recipes have stuck now. Here. Right, thanks. So, any issues with the city lately? What's the word on the street? Shouldn't I be asking that? There's nothing new, really. The lynchings at White Knight stopped, so there's that. Really? Something about the armor. I haven't gotten much on that one yet. All in all, the madness following the attack on the bank seems to have settled down a bit. That's good to hear. Have any other details about the attack emerged yet? All records of what happened there have long been deleted. Security cams, system logs, everything was wiped. Whatever happened there, it's become even more of a mystery now. I wonder if Say plans on testifying. Or does anyone know if Say went in there in the first place? Maybe the wiping of everything actually protects her somehow. Hey, bartender. You okay? Sorry, got distracted. There's not much to say, really. There's an odd, silly rumor here and there. Whoops. Like the vending machine's tasers malfunctioning and applying more strength. Or that the writer of the last strain in the world is actually living here as a brain in a jar. But those are the kind of rumors you hear from crackheads. Crackheads might hold that one last piece of info you need, but you also hear crap like that. I guess. I see. Anyway, I'm leaving. Happy New Year, bartender. Please come again. Okay, then, no. Wait. He's out. Gil, you there? Yeah? Taking your break? Let me know if someone comes in.
Alright, take a minute to save our game on our break. It's now safe to keep playing. Yay! Things are pretty quiet outside. A little too quiet, it seems. Let's see. I think I'm okay with... No, actually, I'm gonna take that off. That one. This one. This one. Here. And here. Oh, cute new avatar. I'll just move it up a song. Oops. Put that one back on. Jill. Ah, Miss Kim. Just call me Kim. It sounds weird to be called Miss. You seem to be in a good mood. I got some money on Mega Christmas. Wouldn't you be happy? I guess. Although I am currently living without power. What can I get you? I'll have a beer. Okay. Wait. And then just mixed, right? Just to, again, yeah, just mix. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and 4. Awesome. Here. Thanks. So, how have you been doing? And you keep messing up, as in what, like, do you get multiple chances at the drink? Oh, they just don't pay you. You just don't make as much. But we're just doing the story. We're not trying to like figure out, oh, like what does the game actually do to you, or what is the game? What are the consequences of just being a really shitty bartender? But pretty much, yeah. But like, yeah. But like, if you do mess up the drink though, you can reset it, and you technically get another shot at doing it. There's no time limit as to like how long you have to do a drink. But like, I'm pretty sure you just like figure out you still go through the story as normal. You just don't make as much. All right, ads are coming up right now. I hope you had a good Christmas that you celebrate. I did. It was chill. Not much that happened. So, how have you been doing? Pretty good, actually. My hair stopped falling out. My appetite is coming back. I hadn't realized just how much the newspaper was weighing on me until I quit. I suddenly stopped feeling defeated. I actually felt like I achieved a victory. Like, I got a hold of my own life. So nice to hear. Oh yeah, I'll start bartender training in January too. Huh, really? Yeah, I did some research and it sounded cool. BTC gives you many benefits, so it sounds like a good thing to do for the time being. I don't know if it means what I want to do for the rest of my life. Or if it's what I want to do for the rest of my life, but it's a good start. It'll give me time to think on the next course of action. A bit of advice. Don't go for BTC housing plans unless you absolutely have to. You have to sign a contract for at least 5 years of service with a cut in pay and tips. I was gonna go for that one, but I backed down at the last minute. How do you back down a bit? Well, I took the chance with the BTC found me an apartment. Instead of signing the BTC contract, I just asked for a regular one. I still have no idea how we got away with that one. I thought those apartments were built by them or something. Back in England they are. They have their own real estate companies. Apartment complexes where they have the means to give discounted rooms to employees. But in this city, Realty Newell holds an unspoken real estate monopoly. I'm sorry? But in this city, Realty Newell holds an unspoken real estate monopoly? I know it's just a video game, but Jesus. So BTC can't offer such promises. Can't easily offer such promises. Oh. Realty Newell is a bit weird as far as companies go. Their name has become synonymous with quality, a brand built around certain expectations. But the truth is that reality, Realty Newell has done little to no work in the last 10 years or so. Really?
I mean, when they started, they managed to sell and build upon plots of land that everyone gave up on. They became a big name as far as real estate goes. But in reality, the company itself has actually done less than you'd think over the years. Most of the time, they're cashing in on their established properties or letting others work on them. I believe in the last 10 years or so, they've only started around 3 or 4 new projects. And they're all expansions of their already established ones.
You seem to know a lot about it.
Yeah, and? Nah, I've just read about it a lot over the time. Especially after hearing my landlord ramble about them. I think it's all par for the course for real estate companies, really. But it's true when you hear when you hear a name so much, you expect something, I don't know, different. But enough rambling on my side. You must be thirsty. Can I get you anything else?
Let's try a sugar rush.
Okay. Sugar Rush. Feel like I've been serving them a lot lately.
And we have. They are delicious. As far as I can tell. 2, 1. She's an adult, so yeah, she gets some karma tree and mix.
Here you go.
Yay! Actually, Jill, I came here today to thank you.
Me.
Yeah, back when I first showed up here, I was in a really rough spot. I was shocked, I was tired, I was a total mess. I even said some really mean things, but you had patience with me. Not to mention you helped me cool down, and your boss saved me. And I don't know, I felt like I had to tell you all that before the year ended.
Much appreciated. Thanks.
But anyway, how are you doing? Last time you were a bit off.
I'm better now. Thanks a lot.
Glad to hear. It was weird to see you like that. It always felt like you were putting up a cool bartender act.
It did. Or it did.
You don't?
I don't.
Are you sure?
What you saw as a cool bartender act is what everyone else has described as being cold. I mean, cold and cool do mean the same, but nah, I don't try to put up that act. Sorry to disillusion you. I'm too much of a mess to do such a thing.
Huh.
Disappointed?
Surprised, actually. What led me to believe you that you were putting on an act? And more importantly, how can I make use of it when I get assigned to a bar? I must investigate further.
Good luck with that.
Say, let's try something bubbly now.
Alright. Let's get a bubbly drink.
Nah, maybe not a burning one. Well, she wanted a sugar rush, right? So instead of something stupid like a frothy water, maybe a fringe weaver, maybe. Yeah, just have like the most brain dead answer, like, here's a beer. It's bubbly. What do you mean? It's got bubbles in it. It's got fizz in it, ain't it? Sorry. quit fucking around now. Yeah, just a fringe weaver, just a fucking... let's see, what other bubbly drinks do we have? These are the only ones. Yeah, why not? It'll be fine. That's what she asked for anyway. There you go, fringe weaver, very bubbly. Here. Thanks. Hey Jill, I'm gonna need some ice. Ah, boss. Boss? Oh, I know you. Thank you, thank you. Hey, nice to see you're fine. I'm more than fine, I'm alive, I'm here. I avoided my biggest mistake in life thanks to your timely intervention. I don't know what overcame me, I just felt like everything was shouting. I couldn't stop the shouting, so I just felt like, thank you. Don't even mention it. I just did what I felt was right. Jill? Ice, please. Right. Are you alright? Did you seek help? I know a couple of people that could help you. Don't worry. Alright, don't worry. I'm perfectly fine. I've gone to a therapist a couple of times, but he says I'm okay. Something overcame me, but you intervened and... I don't know what to say. You already said thank you. Seeing that you're fine is more than enough for me. Should have come to thank you earlier. I owed you that at least. Don't worry, just go out and be happy. You have a second chance, so use it the best you can. I will. I'll be leaving. Happy New Year, Jill, and thank you again. Please come again. So, a couple of weeks ago I read about some woman saving a suicidal girl, catching her midair. Would you happen to know something about that, boss? Maybe, maybe not. Whoever it was probably just did that because it was the right thing to do. Alright, bye. Feeling lonely? That voice. Hey Joe, long time no see. Really long time no see. Seriously, it feels like it's been over a year since I last saw you. I was planning on visiting you last week, but things were pretty heavy back then. So I just waited in the background until the tension wore off a bit. Wait. Is she the chick in the TV? Either she's the chick in the TV, or that one Lilum, the green hair Lilum. Fucking what's her name? Shit. I forget her name. But she mentioned a black sailor uniform, so I think she meant this outfit. Oh fuck, what did she say too? I forgot what she said. Shit. Oh fuck. Is this where we die? Does it turn out a bottle falls on our head and kills us? Do we slip on some ice and crack our head on the counter? and everyone thinks that Jill just like fucking walked away, and so they go out looking for her. Leaving her for far too long, and they discover her too late behind the counter the entire time. Earth to Joe, I'm talking to you here. If I ignore her, she'll leave. Yeah, I saw that. I see that. It's a hallucination. It has to be. I'm not an unfathomable sense of dread. You can't just ignore me, you know. Julianne Stingray, I'm talking to you. My last name is Stingray? Calm down. Don't fall for her taunts. How did you know my full name, though? I thought your full name was Julianne Natalie Stingray. Or did you legally remove the Natalie? Never mind that. Is she reading my thoughts? Yeah, I mean, they're kind of written in the middle of the screen. What? Oh. Oh, fourth wall break. The fuck? Oh, this is where Jill snaps and loses her mind. Hard not to see them, actually. Alright, that's it. I'm going crazy. That's such a self-centered way to see the world. You assume that that you're crazy because you can't accept that this world could be weirder than you think. The world is amazing because of the things you just can't explain. And just because you only experience something doesn't mean it's a lie or that you're crazy. I mean, just like an ASMR. Shut up. No, I'm pretty sure that's what a crazy person would say in this scenario. You acknowledge me. Shit. That's good. I'm not serving you anything. What? Why? Last time you came, I had to clean the drinks you served off the floor. Don't be like that. The drinks were also paid for with my money. I don't know how you did it, but that set any and all plans I had for the rest of the week off balance. I was gonna buy some curry with the money I had to put up for those drinks. Dog duty done. I know we have so days, but for God's sake. You okay? You look angry. I'm fine. Good job out there. I'm back. Boss, what happened? Meeting cut short. At least I drank the the bottles. Are you okay? You look distraught. Surprisingly, I can pronounce Hennessy. We're not legally allowed to have that in this game, but sure. I'm fine. So they really can't see you. I mean, you're right in front of them. And you're wearing jeans under a skirt. Oh, that's right. That's another detail. Uh-oh. Why? Just why? To annoy people, of course. Is that a new trend? What does she think she's doing? Everyone feels like it's not quite right. Everyone thinks they should call you out. But they can't bring themselves to do it because it's not that wrong. There are things like spads after all. It's uncannily right. Not all that wrong. And they can't stop staring. Not like anyone other than me could see it though. They could see it if they wanted to. Jill, you're making an awful lot of faces there. You okay?
Yeah, just remembering stuff. Man, I miss not being crazy. Boss, I'm leaving early today. And you stay here. Who stays where? Crap, did I just... You have to be the first person I've met who mixes their inner and outer voice. I thought I saw one of the dogs near the counter. Sorry. Oh, okay. Can I leave a bit earlier today? Sure, thanks for taking care of the fort. What about me? You haven't left yet. I'll thank you when you leave. That's not what I... whatever. Let's go, no mistakes. And we have enough for rent. We're not gonna get evicted. Yay! Although I wonder if that's like an actual like game over if you don't make rent. Or does she just like live in a box? But I'll find that out next time when we play on Friday. Rent is due on the 30th. Please make sure your account has the necessary $10,000 or you'll be evicted. You, your cat, and all your shit. Jill just watched Night of the ID Snatchers. Buying a poster of it will prevent her from getting too distracted. Have a very nice day. There are cats in heat outside. I'd have blue balls, if I still had any. Alright, where is it? Movie poster, movie poster. Night of the ID Snatchers, the beloved police mockumentary. Looking at the post, Jill managed to get Gabby off her mind, even if just for a little bit. Oh, well that's nice. Let's see. What? There's other posters, right? I have a Carrie Mickey poster. I got that Cutesy Game poster. Oh, this is a banner. That's different. This one's a scrap of paper with the download code Meet the Staff scribble. For 300 bucks? Nah, for next time. So let's see. Day 15. And there's new stuff to read. We'll see that later. Now, for as good as time as I need to call it now. We've been at this for about 7 hours? So what, 3 hours Street Fighter, 4 hours of Valhalla? Or 5 hours, I think?